BetOnline continues to be the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen. With the largest selection of odds on everything from football, the NBA, and college basketball, NHL to the UFC. Head to BetOnline today and don't forget to use promo code BELIEVE, that is BLEAV, all capitalized, for your welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, the game starts here.
Happy holidays, everyone. Justin Goodhart alongside Cameron Klein in a Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa edition of the Fly Guys podcast. We hope that you and yours are having a terrific holiday season. We hope that you have finished up your shopping. And most importantly, we just hope that you get to spend time with family around this time of the year. And as I bring in Cameron, you're away in Marblehead, obviously, so it's not the, are you coming home? Are you going to see your parents for Christmas? Okay, I just wanted to make sure that
Yes, I will be home.
When are you guys going home?
Next Monday. We're not exactly sure what time we're going to be leaving, but yeah, Monday the 23rd is when we'll be coming home. I'm going to be home for some time. Very much looking forward to it. But yeah, I'm wondering, how's the weather down? Is it snowing where you guys are? Because it was currently
snowing,
coming down.
It was
hard.
snowing today here in Harrisburg. It wasn't like sticking to the ground, but the trees were getting that look about them where the branches are coated in snow. The grass, it was covered. So it felt like a Christmas morning, Christmas
nice.
Day, really. And I was very appreciative of that. And I'm pretty sure we're about to hit a cold stretch actually back home. I'm going to actually go back to Ben Salem weather for a second to see what it's like. So tomorrow, 34 the high, 18 the low. Sunday, 26 the high, 15 the low. Monday, 31 the high, 14 the low. Christmas Eve, it'll be 38 and 25. And then Christmas Day, 39 degrees and 28 the low, which is Christmas weather. And that is how it should feel. It should feel frigid. So I'm actually pretty happy about that.
Yeah, I'm excited too. It's almost about as cold as the Philadelphia Flyers this week. Nice transition, right? You like that?
I like that a lot. Yeah. And that was pretty much what we were going to lead into. It has not been a good week. It has not been a holly jolly week for the Philadelphia Flyers. No. It has been really a week of just kind of covering your eyes, throwing the remote down into the couch, and turning the TV off at a certain point of the game. When we last left off, they had the game against the Columbus Blue Jackets. They played well in that game, by the way. 5-3 win. They looked great. And then they followed that up with a very nice home win against the Detroit Red Wings, in which Kosalov was great. And Scott Lawton had 4 goals in the game, and that was obviously the big takeaway. And it was just like, the vibes are good with this team. And they have a Saturday game against Minnesota. Minnesota's a great team. Don't get me wrong. So I don't think teams were expecting, or anyone was expecting them to win.
No, game went as I expected.
Game was a clunker. Like, they got clunked a little bit.
Yeah.
Then they had the back-to-back against Detroit and the LA Kings. And in the Detroit game, all I really have to say about this one is Flyers had 4 shots after the first period. They finished the game with 19 shots. They actually tied the game in the third period. This is the frustrating aspect. Flyers tied the game a few different times and ultimately lose the game. Patrick Kane scores the game-winning goal midway through the third. They salted away with an empty net goal.
Yeah.
I was going to point out in that game, Flyers gave away the puck 17 times. 17 giveaways. And then they have the game against the LA Kings. And they played, in my opinion, first 2 periods, I thought they had played some of their best hockey all season.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? There's a concern here and there, but you know what? Like, Emile Andre's not having the best game, but ultimately, they're hanging in with a great team, and they're up 3-2. And then one play changed everything, and that was a play right by the net. Kosalov went for it. Or Kolosov went for it. I always mispronounce the name, so I'm sorry about that. He misses the puck when he tries to put his glove down on it.
Yes.
And then Anze Kopitar is right there, and he puts it in the net. And it's 3-3 going into the third period. And then it all unraveled. It unraveled in spectacular fashion for the Flyers.
Yeah.
Outshot 8-2 in the third period. They had a couple scoring chances early-ish on in the third period, but no, didn't get it. And I just once they made it 5-3, I turned the TV off. I was a little too upset this time. And it's the first time this season I've been really upset, Cameron.
Yeah.
Because I texted you my thoughts last night.
Yes.
So what do we watch this team for? What is the purpose of watching them this season? The purpose is multifold. You're watching Matvey Machkov to make sure that he's as advertised, and he has been. He's in a bit of a lull right now, but for the most part, he has been as advertised.
Yeah.
And you're looking to see development. You're looking to see development from these young guys: Bobby Brink, Morgan Frost, Tyson Forrester, Cam York. And you know what I'm seeing? I'm seeing a lot of the same. I'm seeing a lot of the same mistakes that they were making on night one against Vancouver in the guts of the season last year. They can't exit the zone. They can't clear the crease. They can't get high danger opportunities. They certainly cannot handle the transition rush coming back their way unless your name is Travis Sanheim, and he does a good job because he's so good on the backstride of his skates that he can take away those opportunities. But guess what? Yeah. Unless you're going to have Travis Sanheim play 60 minutes a game, you have other defensemen that are having those problems. The goaltending is atrocious, and we know it's atrocious. And when we give them flowers, it's like, yay, you made a save. Thank you for doing your job.
Yeah.
You're asking a 22-year-old kid to be a savior for this team. You're asking a 20-year-old to be a savior for this team. And I know that before anyone says anything, Keith Jones and Danny Briere would rebuke that idea because they wanted to make it clear that that Michkov specifically is not a savior. But guess what? When you play like that, you're asking these youngins to be saviors. 3-2. Kolosov's got to have it. If you're going to go for the dude, you got to have it. I don't know what to say. You got to have that puck. But you know what would be nice? It'd be nice if the defense would help him out a few times.
Yeah. Like both things can be true in the same way that the Kings are a very good team and the Kings outplayed them at certain moments, which you can't be upset about. At the same time, they made a lot of key mistakes. And for you, it was the Kings game that really upset you. For me, was the Detroit game because it just to me felt very flat-footed, very nonchalant. They scored that first goal right off the rip. TK goes in, first minute in, scores. And it just seemed like right from there, they just put their foot right off the gas. And Detroit just immediately turned it on, which is what you would expect your team and what you want your team to do when they go down 1-0. Detroit did exactly what they were expected to do. But like you said, it's the neutral zone turnovers. It's the failing of breaking out of their own zone. I like the idea of the stretch pass. I do. If it works well, to me, that is the future of hockey, right? That is to me how good teams play. They're able to break out very well. They're able to get it from their blue line to the other team's blue line, lickety split, and just go on a transition and go on a rush. And with some of the some of the players on the team, excuse me, you know, TK, Michkov, they have the speed where you can do that, and that's great. But like you said, Travis Sanheim seems to be the only guy who can do that. Emil Andre, throughout the month, at points was seeming to be a guy who could do that as well. Jamie Drysdale seems to have the raw talent to be able to do that, but he's not always doing it. Last night he had, 20-some minutes of ice time, and he had zero stretch passes, zero opportunities created. I think it was 24 minutes at least, right? I got to see.
Are you talking about Drysdale?
Yes.
22 minutes.
22 minutes, yeah, 22:44.
He and Sanheim led the team in minutes with 22 each, respectively.
Which is what I want. Especially out of Sanheim. I want him to lead the team in minutes because he deserves that. But it's just the failed execution of it over and over again. And it's in these last two games specifically. It's the laziness. And you said it last night, and I was thinking it. I didn't want to say it out loud, but you said it last night where you said it was 2021 shit. It was 2021 shit. Losing that game, giving up on it. The stretch pass that Cam York does in the Detroit game that ultimately got him benched last night is the reason why he didn't play. And he did. He did, because he had two bad games in a row, and that stretch pass against Detroit was absolutely atrocious. Not just because it was a bad pass and because it got intercepted, but because he had no help back there. It was just a boneheaded move. You're just seeing that over and over again, time and time again. The second goal that the Kings got last night, you have Jamie Drysdale, you have Morgan Frost, and you have Travis Sanheim all in the crease at the same time, yet they get beat by somebody. That's unacceptable. That can't happen. And on top of that, like you said, You can't rely on a 22-year-old, 23-year-old goaltender to win it. Were there moments I wish he got back? Yes. For example, that third goal that the Kings scored, that lost them the game. That absolutely killed them. They just went completely off the rails there. But I'm not going to entirely get angry at him, but that needs to not happen. If you're gonna go for it, you got to go for it. It's frustrating on all of those levels. My hope is not completely gone on the team, but it's just one of those things where you could chalk it up to a lot of things. You could say it's the condensed schedule, back-to-back games against good teams. It's been a rough stretch throughout November. You could chalk it up as all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, this is not what we've come to expect from a John Tortorella team. We've not come to expect laziness. We've not come to expect losing puck battles. We've not come to expect careless turnovers. And last night, at the bare minimum, was a major wake-up call to me for this team going into the Christmas break.
Cameron, they had 4 days off in 5 in 5 days. From the 13th to the 17th, they played one game. I don't accept the excuse of, well, they played a back-to-back, they were tired. Bull. They had 3 days off. I can't remember a time where the Flyers had 3 days off that wasn't like an All-Star break or a Christmas break. They play a lot. There's a reason why at the standings at the end of every season, it seems like the Flyers have played 78 games, but the Capitals have played 72 games. It's ridiculous how they stack the Flyers schedule. Needless to say, what annoyed me the most last night was the fact that for the first time, I felt like they laid down.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that I had come to expect. That's why I wasn't as annoyed about the Detroit game. It was sloppy. It was bad. They were careless. But you know what? I never felt like they gave up. I never felt like they threw it in.
Right.
They laid down for LA last night. In that third period specifically, they came out real flat-footed in the third period.
Yeah.
They were not interested in forechecking. They were not interested in clearing the crease. That's where I got the shades of 2021. And all I have to say is that is so unacceptable. It cannot be this way. If that's how it's going to be, then the Flyers are never going to be a good team again.
Right.
For this to happen, for a John Tortorella team to lay down for your opponent like that is flat out atrocious in every sense of the word. Now, the Flyers did make a move today. They sent Emil Andre back down to the Phantoms.
Yeah, he played himself out of a position.
See,
last night. I'm honestly not happy with the move. I don't fully agree with it.
I don't think he played himself out of a position, honestly, on this team. Here's what I think happened.
He had a bad game, but I don't think he deserves to. I don't think he was AHL deserving.
The argument that some are making is that this will save the Flyers $37,600 of cap space because you get fourth, essentially you accrue cap space in the NHL, for those who don't know. And this is a really good breakdown by Broad Street Hockey's Thomas Williams on what makes sense with doing this versus what does not make sense. Did they do it for cap reasons? We don't really know what the reason is. Now, Tortorella could say, like, hey, his game isn't good enough right now. He needs to go back down. You could make the argument that his game hasn't been good enough. That's fine. He also doesn't go through waivers by them doing it now, so that's probably another big thing. You don't want him to go on waivers. Because if someone gets claimed, I don't know if the NHL allows you to retract someone if they've been claimed on waivers. Like
I doubt it.
Baseball.
And I don't want to lose him right now.
No. He's not someone that you want to lose.
No.
But he played bad last night. The whole team played bad last night. There was one player that I actually, and you know what? I'm not going to even go with the guy that scored 2 goals. There was one player that kind of shocked me with their play in a good way. And I thought Bobby Brink showed something last night.
Yeah, the past 2 games. That line has looked nice.
So this isn't so much to besmirch Noah Cates, Bobby Brink, or Tyson Forrester. I think they played hard last night.
They did.
Through 2 periods.
Right.
But the entirety of the team, I get it. The Kings are better. They were going to win that game.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that you got embarrassed on your home ice, a theme, by the way, which I'm seeing a lot too much of. The Flyers stink at home, and that's really bothering me a lot. 7-9-1 now at home. That's unacceptable. I don't know, I understand the Wells Fargo Center isn't the greatest home ice advantage at this point in the Flyers' history, but, a bit of a history of Philadelphia having good home field advantage. We talked about this last week. The old Spectrum, That was a freaking zoo to go to. We're a far cry from those days. But to be so flat, to be so bad on home ice, and to get boat raced by the LA Kings, inexcusable.
Yeah.
The Kings have 42 points. They're right there with the Vegas Golden Knights for the Pacific Division.
They're a great team. They're a great team.
The whole point, though, is that I thought the idea of this Flyers team is we're not going to win a cup. No one's watching them to see them in June.
Yeah.
They're not going to be in June. Everyone knows that. But we're watching them to see them get better. They're not getting better right now.
Yeah, and the idea was they're going to be tough to play against, right?
They're hard. They're going to be hard.
You know, like it's going to be teams are going to remember playing against them. And yeah, last night, that third period, that was the first time we've seen all season since, again, the John Tortorella era, where it just was like they were already out of the building. The fact that the goal was scored, another goal was scored after the empty net is to me the biggest sign of we hung them up 10 minutes ago, 20 minutes ago. You know what I mean?
I saw, again, I turned it off when they made it 5-3. Then I saw it was 6-3. I was like, okay,
empty net.
Empty net, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
And then I put my phone down for 20 minutes, and I went back, and I saw it was 7-3, and I'm like, did they really pull the goalie again? What's the point? And when I saw what I saw, I threw my hands up, and I said, if that doesn't embarrass you as a hockey fan, if that doesn't embarrass you as a hockey player,
yeah,
and nothing would embarrass you, I would inquire what would embarrass you at that point.
Yeah.
That's NHL, on Xbox crap.
Yeah. And again, not that this is an excuse, it's still unacceptable. But the idea is like, well, maybe I don't know, maybe they just need to get to the Christmas break. But again, it's only going to be 3 days. I don't know what exactly they're expecting. Yeah, it's tough. It was a tough game, dude. To me, like I said, at the very minimum, it should have been an absolute wake-up call. For you to get steamrolled the last 20 minutes to give up on a game. Can't happen in the era. It can't. It's completely counterintuitive to the goal of the mission of the rebuild, and it's not something that I do expect them to continue to allow happening. Not this team, not with the management they have, not with the core that they have, not with John Tortorella at the helm. I don't expect this to continue to happen. But the feeling in the room right now should be major frustration.
If it's not,
if it's not already,
if there are players in that room that are not disgusted with last night, you're going to have different addresses real soon. That's just how it's going to be. They're going to ship you out, and they should.
Yeah. One of them already does. One of them's already back to Lehigh. So
yeah. Well, there's one thing that Tortorella has proven is that he's not afraid to just bench or basically strip a job of. You mentioned the Christmas break. They have 2 more games before that Christmas break, and then they'll have 4 days off. They have Columbus on Saturday.
Yep.
Sunday they're off, and then they close it out on the road. First meeting against the Penguins this season. Penguins have had their own problems, but the Penguins played better of late. You know why? Because the Penguins have these storied vets that don't quit despite how bad it looks. And it looks
one
bad
guy in particular.
One guy very much in particular. I said it to you last night. I always say, like, oh, give me 3 or 4. No, not this time.
Yeah, no.
You give us 4 out of 4.
Yeah.
You better put on a show for the fans on Saturday, and you better beat the Columbus Blue Jackets, and then you better find a way to beat the Pittsburgh Penguins to close out the pre-Christmas stuff. Because you owe it to yourself. You owe it to the fans. And you know what? Tortorella owes it to himself as well. Because
you owe it to the mission.
This is not acceptable.
Yeah, you owe it to the mission. The mission is being tough to play against. The mission is not quitting in games. The mission is bouncing back from rough moments and knowing how to persevere in the rough moments. And this is a rough moment. You're in a rough moment. Very rough moment.
This is the thing that's going to kill me. That I said to you last night as well.
What?
Vegas, Detroit, Utah, Florida, Boston. I'm not done yet. Hold on.
What?
Vegas, Colorado, and Florida. I count 8 games in the last month and a half that were winnable for the Flyers.
Yeah, and all very, very good teams.
Good teams, but they had proven they could beat good teams last year.
Right.
Multiple goal blown feels like 2021 when we talk about that. How many times I saw the Flyers be up 2-0 or 3-1 and then blow the game.
And then something happens and it falls apart.
Yep.
Right.
I am sick of seeing them take winnable games and just unravel midway through the second period. Third period bad woes.
Mm-hmm.
The Flyers, I believe, have allowed the 6th least amount of goals in the NHL in the first period. I think that's the stat. They flashed it on ESPN last night, and I think that's what I saw. The Kings were number 1. The Flyers have a minus 20 goal differential in the second period right now.
Okay.
And in the third period, I don't know what the number is right now, but I can't imagine it's very good, especially losing 4-0 in the third period last night.
Yeah. I'm looking it up now. I'm trying to look up the per period.
If they're going to get, the whole point of them is that they're supposed to grind teams down as the game goes on. Right now, they're being ground up as the game goes on.
Yeah.
Figure it out. Like, seriously, figure it out. Obviously, you're not winning the Stanley Cup this year, but you got to get better. These players have to get better. Cam York getting benched sucks because he's playing badly, and that's unfortunate because Cam York last year and part of this year has been a guy you look at and you go, we don't have to worry about him. I don't think we have to worry about him.
Yeah.
It would be nice for him to play well at the same time Sanheim's playing well because it feels like when one's playing well, the other isn't playing well. Jamie Drysdale's back from injury and has been playing relatively okay. He's been showing more of his stride that you want. It would be nice if the three of them, the young defensemen, could figure it out.
Yeah, it would be. It would be. Yeah, Jamie Drysdale. He looked nice that one game he came back, but that might now it's just looking like that was because of fresh legs.
He looks very okay. He looks only okay.
Yeah, Emil Andre looked nice for, again, the month of November, but he looked not great last night. Cam York, again, 2 very, very back-to-back bad games. Again, been okay since he came back from the injury. Not great. And you need them all to make that extra step up. The one that Travis Sanheim made. The one that Ristolainen has made. Ristolainen has gone from a terrible contract to a not great contract, but at least he's serviceable. At least he can play. At least he's not a liability on the ice. And you need it from the other guys. But it's not just the defense, too. It's the forwards. Tyson Forster has been turning it on. Owen Tippett, I've been liking him. Bobby Brink, okay. Morgan Frost, again, man, we're back. We're still in this room. Joel Farabee, again, we're still in this room, right? I needed to figure it out, man.
I need to play. Now, Morgan Frost had a nice feed to Tyson Forster last night after the power play had expired, and it got the Flyers. I think that was what got them the 3. Yeah, it was what got them the 3-2 lead.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be surprised when Morgan Frost makes a play. That's the issue that I have with
exactly.
Like, oh my God, him? He's making plays now?
Yeah.
But you know what? As I think more and more about why this defense and this goaltending sucks, maybe we're looking at the wrong side of the ice, Cameron. The Flyers are 27th in Corsi for percentage. The Flyers are 26th in goals for percentage. The Flyers are 18th in expected goals for percentage.
Yeah.
In scoring for chances, the Flyers are 29th. And then in high danger chances for, the Flyers sitting there at 16th. Their offensive ranks suck.
Yeah.
And they suck because they don't have the players that are able to create their own space. Like Tyson Forster, he's not a sniper. He gets dirty goals by the
he gets the garbage goals. Yes.
That's great. But guess what? Simone Gagne couldn't carry the Flyers all by himself. And also, while Simone Gagne was a guy that was by the crease a lot and got a lot of goals, he had more to his game. But that's not the point. I'm not trying to make a point about Simone Gagne. What I'm trying to make a point of is that the Flyers have, I'm going to say, 2 players that I reliably believe can create their own space.
Right.
Konechny and Michkov, maybe Owen Tippett, maybe if he figures it out. Like I think he can because he's got great speed and he does a good job. So you know what? Yeah, I'll give it to Owen Tippett.
Yeah, he's one of the ones I'm not worried about.
Other than that, Noah Cates can't create his own space. I like Noah Cates. He doesn't create his own space.
No, right. I'm not exactly expecting him to, but yeah, no.
Morgan Frost and Joel Farabee, I watch get bodied off the puck way too much.
Well, Joel Farabee, like it's weird because statistically, analytically, he's playing great. He has the highest expected goals for on the team at 7.19. Yeah.
Well,
he is extremely snake bitten. Joel Farabee is extremely snake bitten, but it gets to a point where it's like,
I agree.
if you're snake bitten throughout multiple stretches of your career, are you snake bitten? You know what I mean? Like, or is it just that you can't finish? Are you just
finish?
Are you just the new coming of Carl Hagelin, right? Who was just had the speed and had the skill to get open and had the skill to get on every breakaway he possibly ever wanted to, but he was the least threatening person on one. Every time I saw Carl Hagelin coming down the ice by himself, I thought, I ain't worried. Because I didn't have to be. And that kind of seems to be what Farabee's coming half the time. Every time I see him have the puck on his stick, I almost feel deflated. Because it's like he's just gonna get snake bitten again for whatever reason. But no, like I you're right. You can't just be Konechny, and it can't just be a 30-plus-year-old Sean Couturier, right? Who was on the fourth line at points on that Detroit game. Still looked great.
Yeah,
but
he was fine.
He can't be your top guy. Travis Konechny looks great, right? He looks awesome. Best case scenario, he's a point per game player. Maybe 10 more points than he has games.
Yeah.
That's awesome. There needs to be more than that in today's NHL. You need more than just that. You can't have just one guy who's doing that.
No, you can't put that on. You can't reliably put that on the ice. Travis Konechny right now is 37 points in 33 games. Next up is Michkov, 27 points in 31 games. He hasn't gotten a point in a couple games.
Yeah, a little bit of a low.
The next forward is Owen Tippett with 18 points. Forrester, he's got 8 goals now. He's, like you said, he's starting to get a little better. If Forrester breaks his 20-goal mark from last year, then we would say, oh, my God, he got better. Well, I wouldn't, that's why they have the eye test for a reason, because just stat looking doesn't prove anything.
Mm-hmm.
But Brink, well, no, I'm sorry. I won't. You know what? I'm not going to pick on Brink too much because I don't think we expect much out of him. Frost, 13 points, 29 games. Farabee, 12 points, 33 games.
Yeah.
Ryan Paling's a fourth liner. You don't expect much. Noah Cates is at least a +6, 9 points in 29 games. I am beyond frustrated after last night's game. And the frustration will always come from the fact that I thought they laid down.
Yeah.
I thought they clearly didn't want to be on the ice anymore. And then you wonder why the fans don't want to invest. The stadium, I don't know how full the stadium was last night, but it looked like a halfway decent crowd. At one point in the game, I think it was Steve Levy does the game, right? I think it was Steve Levy and PK Subban.
I could be wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, it was,
I know PK obviously was one of the people
Steve
doing
Levy
it.
and PK Subban did the game. And I want to say at one point the Flyers took the lead, and Steve Levy's like, wow, this crowd is kind of subdued for being up 3-2. And PK Subban says something effective like, well, the Flyers did their job and the fans aren't, the fans are going to, kind of sit back. And I'm like, that's not why they're not loud. They're not loud because they're just not as passionate right now.
Yeah. It's growing. It's growing back than it was 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
But it's not.
But performances like this don't entice fans to come back.
Exactly. It reminds you of this was not at all at the same scale whatsoever. But of course, in my mind, always goes back to the New York Ranger game a couple years ago, where they were basically kicked us out of our own building, and it's like this is a microcosm of that, right? This is like a micro scale of that. But it's one of those things where it's like, well, if people are remembering that, which I remember that, and then you get routed in the last 20 minutes of a game, which was a very good game leading up to that point.
Mm-hmm.
Those two things are going to go hand in hand to me, where it's like, well, there you go again, getting run out of your own building. And that is not the reputation that Philadelphia has been born to be known for,
Nor should it be the one that we accept.
No, it isn't. Yeah. Which is again, why people would not show up.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to buy in.
Speaking of the Rangers, well, I'll tell you what, we're going to take a break. We'll take a quick break. Come back. I want to talk about the Rangers because that's crazy what's happening over there. And I want to talk about some other things. Obviously, it's the holidays, so we're second half of the show. We're going to hope to make a little bit more relaxed, so that way if you're driving, maybe you can get a little bit more enjoyment. No one likes talking about this team being
About a
dead
team that
foot.
sucks. Yeah.
Yeah, but we'll talk about other teams that suck that make us feel better about ourselves.
Yeah,
So,
there you go.
the Fly Guys podcast. We'll be right back. Fly Guys podcast. Happy holidays once again. Cameron Klein, Justin Goodhart, right here on Broad Street Hockey. Yeah, so the Flyers stink, obviously. We just spent 30 minutes talking about that.
They're playing badly, yes. They're playing
badly.
They're not playing, yeah. Not playing up to snuff.
So, but the thing is, the Flyers being 14, 15, and 4 isn't necessarily the most surprising thing in the world either.
No, we expect them to be, at best a wild card playoff team.
Yeah.
For the most part, and we need them to start playing better to get back to that. But we're not as disappointing as some franchises.
Yeah, and so let's talk about that. Some franchise. When the season began, you thought, "Oh my God, the Rangers are on a team on a mission. They're gonna find a way. They're gonna get to the Stanley Cup Finals this year."
Loaded team. Yeah.
And in October, they gave you all the reason in the world to think that. They had dominant performances over the Pittsburgh Penguins, over the Detroit Red Wings, over the Montreal Canadiens. They beat the Devils. That's their big time rival. November comes around, early November, they're still putting up some good numbers, shutting out the Red Wings. They lost to the Jets, but everyone loses to the Jets in the regular season.
Yeah, especially early on. Yeah.
Especially early on. Not later on, but early on for sure.
Yeah. October? Yeah, absolutely.
So they had their 3-2 win against the San Jose Sharks. They start out a West Coast trip in good shape. They shut out the Seattle Kraken, and then they beat a very good Vancouver team. And a lot's changed since that moment that they beat Vancouver. Lost to Calgary, lost to Edmonton, lost to St. Louis, lost to Carolina, lost to Philadelphia. 5 straight losses. By the way, that was the best Flyers performance of the season.
Yeah. Which now is not looking as nice considering what we're looking at with the New York Rangers. But
it's always nice to beat the Rangers. Right. They beat the Canadiens. Okay, they're back. Yeah. Lost to the Devils. They beat the Penguins. Lost to the Kraken at home. Back-to-back, then lose to the Chicago Blackhawks.
That's tough, dude.
That's a bad
tough
one. That's a rough one.
That's tough.
They beat the Buffalo Sabres on the road, and then they get...
Who doesn't?
Flyers, probably. Then they get smoked by the Kings at home.
Yeah, we know that feeling.
Lose to the St. Louis Blues, not great. Get shut out 3 nights ago, rather, by the Nashville Predators.
Rough, dude.
And in this whole process, Jacob Trouba traded to the Anaheim Ducks.
Yes.
And then they just traded Capo, right? Yeah, they traded Capo a couple days ago.
Capo?
Yes, Capo.
Yeah.
I never.
Yeah, Capo. Yeah, I love that name. It's a great name.
Name your child that. I don't understand that.
It's the Swedish. It's one of those we're gonna have.
Capo goes. That sounds like
the same word.
It sounds like a character you'd use in Super Mario Brothers. Like oh, you want to be the Goomba? I'll be the Capo Caco. But so he's off to the St. Louis Blues now. The Rangers, all of Chris Drury basically saying I will burn down Madison Square Garden at this point.
Yeah.
Peter Laviolette seemingly having no answers for what is happening around his team right now, which, as a Flyers fan, not going to lie, hurts, but also kind of feels good because I didn't want to see him succeed too much with the New York Rangers.
We were afraid of him. I was afraid of him when he went there, and for good reason. Of the last year or so, they look pretty damn good. But yeah.
But so they've got a game tonight starting. Well, but we're recording this before the game starts. But they play tonight against the Dallas Stars.
Yeah.
A team that's not that bad. And Cameron, I don't know what to say. With the Flyers, you look at them, you go, oh my gosh, well, they don't have a whole lot of players.
Yeah.
It makes sense. This one makes no sense whatsoever.
With the Flyers, you can say, well, lack of talent, rebuild. Obviously, the goaltending situation is what it is. The Rangers, none of that. None of that. I think I want to maybe just as the X factor because I can't blame it on anything else. You blame it on leadership, right? Because they trade their captain. They kind of don't know what their identity is right now. Mika Zibanejad is really having a rough year. But you look at the goaltending, they're still playing relatively well. A 908 from Shesterkin, 915 from Jonathan Quick, vintage numbers, right? Not horrible.
Igor Shesterkin, 908 save percentage. You're like, okay. 3.04 goals against average. This guy is getting
Peppered
right now.
every night. Every night getting
This isn't
peppered.
like Martin Brodeur where he would see 2 shots a game and he's now considered the greatest goalie of all
No.
time.
And this is still with Adam Fox, who's number 2 on the team with points.
Yep.
A great defenseman. And again, it's a Peter Laviolette team, which is I remember back to the 24/7 road to the Winter Classic with Ilya Bryzgalov saying about how, coach yelling out, block the shot.
Yeah.
It's a very block shot heavy team. His coaching style is very defensive, very angry, very John Tortorella-esque in terms of do the dirty work and that kind of stuff. Dude, it just seems like it's completely lost right now. The team just doesn't seem to care.
I mean, the guys that they pay, you already mentioned Mika Zibanejad, Vinny Trocheck, not performing that well.
Yeah.
Alexis Lafreniere. At what point do we start saying Lafreniere is a great disappointment as a number 1 overall pick? At what point do we start saying that? Because I'm ready to say it, to be honest with you.
I mean, I would. Well, let's look at his numbers. Let's look at his career numbers. We got 169 points in 329 games.
His season high, 57 points
57 last year, with 28 goals. That was, all right, I guess. But yeah, not great. I mean, when was he drafted? 2020, right? 2020?
2020, 2021 was his first season.
Look at that draft. I'll look at that draft really quick.
Yeah, while you're doing that, I'm going to go back to, the other things I was going to point out. Listen, Chris Kreider has been around for a long time. 10 goals, 1 assist.
That's what he does. He just crashes. It's just to crash the net.
Yeah, but if you're not scoring enough, then you got to be doing other things right.
No, but yeah. But how old is he?
How old is Chris Kreider? It feels like he's 50. He's 33? God, he's been in the league forever. Man,
he's older than I thought. He's around what I thought.
Yeah. They brought up Matt Rempe back in the lineup, which anyone that hears that should be like, oh,
that'll fix it.
Inspiring. Yeah, inspiring move right there.
That'll fix the problem. We'll get the 6'4" guy who could barely skate, just who's half brain dead from fighting 60 times last year. Throw the kid out there, that poor bastard. Oh, my God.
Let him get into a fight with, I don't know, Jamie Benn and see what happens. I don't know. But everything else, Riley Smith, Chidle, however you say Chittle. I don't know how I say Phillips' name.
I think it's Chidle.
Probably is.
Chittle.
But there's nothing with this team right now. They've imploded. Imploded. What is the draft? Are you still looking at the draft right now?
Yeah, I mean, they could have gone with Quentin Byfield from the Kings, who's already playing basically at the same level. He was number 2 overall. Lucas Raymond as well won that one. Yeah. But it wasn't a super great draft. Jamie Drysdale, 6th overall in that one. Tyson Forster went 23rd. But honestly, other than that, there's not a whole lot of that first round.
Well, not at least of now. I mean,
impactful players. Yeah, exactly. Not at least until not now. Marco Rossi, actually, he's another really good one. He went 9 overall. Wow, he kind of fell a little bit. Be nice to have him back, Jesus. but yeah, no, dude. Yeah. Back to the King or back to the Rangers. Dude. Yeah, I can't remember what the last point of what we were even saying was.
Well, no. The point being, I mean, this is drastic. This is like coach is going to get fired real soon.
Yeah.
Like, he's not going to get a good Christmas bonus. That's for damn sure. The Rangers were supposed to be right up there at the top of the Metropolitan with the Devils, with the Hurricanes. I don't know why the Capitals were this good this season, but they are. So let's just say with the Capitals.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm in a 7-game series, I don't think they could beat the Flyers. I really believe that in a 7-game series, the Flyers would probably beat them.
Right now, how they're playing, if you caught them right now, maybe, yeah. Because again, I think it's an identity thing. I think they really don't know what they are because I don't know if they're going to fire Peter Laviolette. I wouldn't be surprised at this point because again, it's just so uncharacteristic of that coaching style of what this team's identity has been for the last 3 or 4 years. And in my opinion, what that means is that guys simply aren't buying in. Guys are just checked out mentally. And if you're checked out mentally by December with the talent they have on their team, you gotta do something to try to save it. You have to.
Peter Laviolette will be the first to tell you that no matter how much success you have a coach, you can have a real short leash once things start to turn rancid.
Oh yeah.
Like, he's the first. You know better than anyone.
Yeah.
They've lost 3 in a row. They've lost. Oh God. They've lost 5 of their last 6, 6 of their last 8. They've got the Stars tonight, like I said. Then they close it. The NHL schedule makers are twisted for this one.
Brutal.
22nd and the 23rd, they have back-to-back games. A 12:30 game at home against the Carolina Hurricanes, and then they wrap it up going down to the Prudential Center and playing the New Jersey Devils at 1 o'clock. I'm just going to say this right now. They lose these next 3 games.
Is he gone?
Oh, I think absolutely he's gone.
I kind of think so too.
I think they fire him. They bring in a fresh voice for the post-Christmas stuff, going into Tampa, going into Florida. They have a potential, if they don't get this turnaround, they have a potential to lose their next 5, which would put them at an 8-game losing streak right now. And the way that they're playing,
which that would be ridiculous.
It would be unthinkable considering where this team was last year and the mindset of where this team was supposed to be this year.
That's Dave Hackstall level losing streak number. That's crazy. For this New York Rangers, for, again, the team that has Artemi Panarin, Mika Zibanejad, Adam Fox, the goaltending duo that they have. It's and again, we were talking about the Flyers earlier saying it's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. It's awesome because it's the New York Rangers and fuck them.
Yeah,
but, like,
we love them.
it's unacceptable, though, right? If you're the New York Rangers. If I'm in the organization, if I'm wearing that suit because I don't have a jersey because I'm the New York Ranger fan, I'm losing my mind at this point. Something has to be done. If it's Laviolette, I don't know. You already traded the captain. That clearly has not done anything. If anything, that's made it worse.
When did they trade him?
It was before our show last week.
All right, December 8th. December 8th, they traded him.
They've won 1 game, which was the Buffalo game. Since that.
So since that point, because they traded obviously on the 8th, 0-1, 0-2, 1-2, 1-3, 1-4, 1-5. 1-5. Yeah. It's bad.
Yeah.
It's
big time. Big time.
If Chris Drury tears this down now, I don't know when the Rangers will be competitive again. Because I thought last year they were going to go to the Cup Finals. I was like, for sure they're going to go to the Cup Finals. I thought they were better than Florida, and I thought they were much better than the Hurricanes, and I forget who they got. I think they got the Islanders in round 1.
Mm-hmm.
But
I don't remember either. But
I was like, they're better than the Panthers. They're going to go to the Stanley Cup Finals and probably win it this year.
I thought the Eastern Conference Finals was going to come down to those 2 teams, and it was going to go to a Game 7 and yada 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 whatever. But yeah, I thought I'm right there with you.
And it didn't. Obviously, Florida, as we now learned, was on a different planet compared to most teams.
And Bob was playing lights out too.
The Rangers, of course, even with all that, we thought the Rangers were like the one team we feel like could stick with them.
Yes.
They couldn't stick with the Hershey Bears right now. That's obviously that's quite an exaggeration, but I mean, like, it feels like they can't sit straight. They can't sit the correct way. That they can't do anything at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
And listen, if they win tonight against the Stars, credit to them. They need this game. They're playing in Dallas.
Stars, I don't see it happening.
I don't see them winning their next 4 games.
No, again, I don't. Yeah. I kind of think we're seeing the end of Peter Laviolette's tenure there.
But yeah, can you imagine Peter Laviolette getting fired on Christmas Eve?
Brutal.
It's
a brutal business, man.
It is an unforgiving business. The only silver lining is that it's a business that happens to pay a lot of money, so you're not exactly in trouble.
Yeah, he'll be fine. Yeah, he'll be fine. He's probably set for life if he knew what to do with that money. So but yeah, it'd be tough.
Speaking of teams in the Metropolitan,
speaking of teams Peter Laviolette coached.
Yeah. So Washington Capitals, I mentioned, I can't believe they're this good right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're playing incredibly.
They're playing for the spirit of Alexander Ovechkin's broken leg.
Yeah,
that's what they're doing.
All of this is without Ovi. They're playing this well. They haven't lost a beat. And Ovi's been out for weeks now. Now, they've had a bit of a skid. They've lost their last 2 to Chicago, which, as we've already addressed, that's a bad loss if that's going to be on your record. And they lost to Dallas. But before that, they had won 4 straight.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately, they're playing phenomenal hockey. Alexander Ovechkin is already skating. He's in a non-contact blue jersey. We found this out last night. If you were watching any of the hockey games on ESPN,
Just an animal, dude.
well, the thing is like him coming back. Anyone coming back from that injury in this timeline is like, oh my gosh, wow. Him doing it at like age 37,
Yeah,
is obscene.
yeah. Russians, man, they're built different.
He truly is inevitable. Like, he's amazing. I hate it. I hate that he's going to break the record, but at the same time, it's like, yeah. And he's having, by the way, he was having, before the injury, a phenomenal year. 25 points in 18 games, a plus 15. Now, granted, I mean, the Capitals are killing everyone right now, so that's not exactly the most surprising thing.
No, but even in the years where they've won President's trophies in plenty of years past, he's never on the good side of the plus minus. Never.
That is also good. Well, you especially are someone who you've often criticized that. Did Spencer Carberry unlock the Barry Trotz version of Alexander Ovechkin? I think
maybe.
If so, you know, a couple years with the Toronto Maple Leafs, he saw Austin Matthews, saw John Tavares, and all those guys up there, and he goes, "There's no way this is as good as it gets. I can do better." Comes back to the Capitals, tell Ovi, we could be much better than any team in the NHL. I literally just need you to start back checking a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so weird. It's so weird that, when one of your star player decides to play just 10% in defense, the team elevates exponentially.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You kind of wonder what would happen if he did that his entire career.
Well, I think I think the conversation of him versus Crosby would be a lot closer.
It'd be a much more lively debate. It would be a much more lively debate. But yeah, I don't think there's a comparison. But regardless, I'm not gonna crap on Alex Ovechkin's back-checking game because he's doing it this year, and he looks great. Yeah. And he looks great at the age that he is. It's ridiculous. He's got gray hair. He looks like George Clooney out there, and he's crushing it. And it is awesome. Like, it's one of those things we do want to see him break the record, because at this point, it's the fact that he's doing it through pure will. Like, my leg broken, whatever. I'm just going to stare at my leg until it heals quicker, until I can get back out there and break that goddamn record. It's awesome. As a sports fan, it's rad. It's rad to see. And yeah, there's no way he's not going to break it, in my opinion, just because he wants it that bad. He'll play an extra 2 seasons in order to make sure it gets done, if it comes down to it.
He's going to break
it won't take that long either.
So, do you think I mean, you have to figure, like, with ESPN also now having, like, they're like the main covers of hockey, it's going to be like when Barry Bonds was very close to breaking Hank Aaron. Every time, like, the Capitals have like a power play, ESPN's going to cut to the game and just be like, live look in.
I think probably for like the last 2 goals. Yeah. I would imagine it's going to be doing that. Another guy, speaking of coaching too, Pierre-Luc Dubois. What? +7? Doesn't look like a liability out there. Once again, back checking.
Looking
Not
like
a guy who back checks, man.
Looking like his early days in the Columbus uniform, like back when they were sweeping the Tampa Bay Lightning out of the playoffs.
Back when he was buying into a little Mr. John Tortorella coaching style. Yeah. So, yeah, maybe it is the coaching. That kind of seems like it could be the continuing trend for that team.
Get a lot of, they've gotten really good stuff out of Jacob Chychrun, which, Lars Eller continues to produce at a decent level for a guy that's a lot older.
How old is he again?
Lars, he's got to be in his 30s now.
35.
He's 35, yeah. And even Rasmus Sandin, who, was someone that kind of disappointing with the Toronto Maple Leafs. He was kind of like the guy that's like, oh, Toronto has this great young prospect named Rasmus Sandin, but he comes up. He's not really that.
Where have I heard that before? The mystic prospect defenseman in Toronto who's going to turn the franchise around.
They're still searching for that top 2 defenseman. Thing is, they had it. It's Morgan Riley's their guy. He's
He's great. They just didn't do anything around him.
They tried a year of Tyson Barrie. They tried Cody Ceci. It's been rough for the Maple Leafs. But again, so Sandin comes to Washington, has kind of like a rough first year. Last year, a -13 on the ice. This year, +16. He's only got 6 penalty minutes. He's provided on the power play this year. He's also he's down to 19 minutes per game. So that might also be another thing where maybe they're getting the most out of him by not playing him as much. You know?
And again, that once again comes down to coaching.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing how much pressure each guy can take and utilizing that and using that to your best advantage. Again, another one, John Carlson. Like, dude, again, how old is this dude? He's
Well,
23 points on.
he's well on his way to potentially another Norris Trophy.
Yeah, 34 years old. At 34 years old, this guy. The audacity, this son of a bitch. Like, God damn, dude. It's impressive. It's annoying, but it's impressive.
But
what they're
that's
doing.
The thing about Washington. A great mixture of youth and vets can lead to this. It's not all just Alex Ovechkin and Tom Wilson getting it done. Their leading point scorer this season is Dylan Strome, and he's done really well for. He's played in almost 500 NHL games. He's 27 years old. Connor McMichael, a guy who I had no idea who this guy was, but he's taken the league by storm. A first-round pick from 2019. So they have these guys on this team, and what do we talk about with the Flyers? They don't have guys right now. They don't have those guys.
Yeah, or the guys we want them to be are not taking the steps that we need them to be taking.
If the Flyers, now I understand, Broad Street Hockey, good article, by the way, put out this morning. If the Flyers, to nail a competitive rebuild, look to the stars. Joe Marini putting that one out there. Maybe look to the nation's capital as well on how to do a rebuild. Because that Washington team, they didn't straight up tank. They retooled, and they are a Stanley Cup contender as it stands on December 20th, heading into the Christmas break. So that's kind of the two big things that I want to talk about from Metropolitan. Now, Cameron, you're not a basketball fan.
No, not really, and especially not now.
Well,
is that what you're going to be talking about, or no? When you're talking about something else,
I'm not talking about them.
Okay,
God knows I'm not talking about them. Actually, although when the incident that I'm about to refer to did happen when the Sixers were playing,
okay,
the Charlotte Hornets are in the news right now. Now, I'm about to sound like Jay Leno. Have you heard of this? Have you seen this? So the Charlotte Hornets, as you know, Cameron, during TV timeouts, during intermissions, during quarter breaks, sometimes they have like these skits that happen on the court, shoot from half court, win a car, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yep.
So so they kind of did that. The Charlotte Hornets did that where they brought a kid out onto a court and they gave him a PlayStation 5. What do you want for Christmas? And the kid says, I'd love a PS5. And so they gave a kid a PS5.
Nice.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
And then the Hornets, in some inexplicable display of no reading the room, took the PS5 away after the skit had ended and provided the kid a team jersey instead. And the kid was naturally very upset by this. And this is not a joke. There was no punchline here. The Charlotte Hornets have had to apologize for doing this. They issued an apology saying, we missed the mark. I'm trying to make sure.
What was the mark? To just pretend like you were giving something away you weren't actually giving away? This is a statement.
This is the statement put out by the Hornets. The skit included bad decision-making and poor communication. Simply put, we turned the ball over and we apologize. This incident was an on-court skit that missed the mark. First and foremost, are you seriously making a basketball pun in an apology by saying,
right, dude?
Are you kidding me? Right?
I love that
airheadedness of that organization to do that.
We threw an interception. We gotta get back out on the field and correct it. We can't.
Jamie's Winston over here. Deliver on to me from these pick sixes. But they continued with the statement by saying, we've reached out to the family and are committed to not only making it right, but to exceeding expectations. Yeah, as in you're giving them a PS5 and probably season tickets and anything else this kid wants.
That's my thought. It's like they keep saying like, oh, it was a skit. It was a skit. And it's like, well, what's the skit?
What's the joke?
It just sounds like you're just giving something away, which is cool. Like, that's a cool thing to do for Christmas. That's awesome. But the way they're sounding is like, no, it was a skit where we're pretending to give him a PS5. We're actually giving him a jersey. And it's like, that's a really bad skit, dude. That's not really entertaining at all.
It's not funny. It's
not funny. It's not entertaining. Also, it's just like, it's boring as shit. That's.
I'm willing to bet if they had just given him a team jersey, the kid probably would have been pumped. He would have been like, "Oh my god,
yeah, awesome. It would have been like, that's rad. That's rad, dude. Like, cool. Have a couple people sign it. That's awesome. That'd be a great gift."
So
I'm very confused by this.
We will be providing the fan. Oh gosh, CNN, I'm not signing up. We will be providing the fan with the PS5 that he should have taken home last night, along with a VIP experience to a future game. Firstly, they better let the kid choose which game that's going to be, because the parents are going to help him choose. Like, okay, we're going to choose like the LA Lakers because we want to meet like
You want
LeBron
to see
James.
LeBron James, and yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Something like that.
My whole thing is like you had the PS5 just chilling there. You had it.
Box. They gave him the box. And,
So
and
they just grabbed it and they just like put that back in the PlayStation 5 room.
Now, my question is, because I didn't see a video, and there might be a video out there.
I'm sure
Now,
there is.
Did they wait until he was off the court to take the PS5 away, or as soon as the skit ended, they just like on court just be like, "All right, give this back. Here's your jersey."
Obviously, I didn't see it, but it sounds like they did it on the court. That's what it sounds like. Like they just rolled it away from him. And
oh no, yeah, it was captured on Twitter.
Of
Hold
course.
on.
Of course. It reminds me of the Jackie Moon, dude.
Yeah, I'm just waiting to see. Okay, so it looks like the kid. All right, with the cameras off, then they took it away. Once
naturally,
it was on the jumbotron, then they took the PS5 away. Yeah, I actually can't believe an organization in 2024, and I understand the whole thing. Are we still doing so-and-so in 2024? The reason why it's spectacularly bad is because any organization knows when the cameras are on you and social media is a thing, any bad look is going to be magnified to a billion.
Everybody has a camera in their pocket. Yeah.
And you already get roasted over trivial stuff as it is.
Yes.
This is so bad.
Yeah, it's a blunder, man. That's a major blunder. I don't know what the end goal is there, but I love it. I love it because it was stupid. Again, it reminds me of like Jackie Moon with the in semi-pro when the guy makes the $10,000 shot and he's just like oh, we do not have $10,000. Like, dude. Yeah, I don't.
Oh
yeah,
my God.
And that's from an NBA team, an NBA organization, not a great one by all means. Charlotte is.
They suck.
Honestly, you know what though? That is such a Michael Jordan thing to do, isn't it?
Oh my gosh,
isn't it?
I wasn't even thinking.
Oh man.
That. Oh my God, that's such a good point.
This is we're not reporting. Okay, this is an opinion. It's a joke, but in my opinion, he was in a room and he was just like, we're not giving that PS5 away. This is the guy that hit every single shot in Around the World at Damian Lillard's charity event where all the children were there. And they were like, if you miss one shot, you all get sneakers. He hit every single one of the shots. Every one. I'm not giving them anything.
Having finally watched The Last Dance, it makes a lot of sense why he is the way he is, because he just talked. I mean, this guy, yeah, he must have been like, as he's smoking his cigar, he's probably like, I know for a fact we're not actually giving this kid a PS5. Right?
I like to imagine that that was the plan, was to give him the PS5. He's up there in the booth. He sees it come out, and he's like, that kid's never hit a free throw in his life. We're not giving him no. Give him a jersey. If he gets anything. Absolutely not.
And also, make the parents pay after for the jersey. So that's... By the way, they're playing right now against the Sixers. Sixers are up 45-25 in the second quarter.
Yeah, great.
So it's as bad as the Sixers are, the Hornets are worse. They're 7-20 this season.
Well, naturally. I think this is Embiid's his first game back, right? He's wearing the mask, I think. Not that I care.
Oh, is he the Phantom of the Opera again?
I think so. Like, who cares? I don't care.
I can't talk about that team. Just about time to wrap up here. But before we do, Cameron, let's quickly just round out football real quick. I'm going to the Ravens-Steelers game tomorrow.
Very fun.
Yep, I'm excited to go.
Great game.
It's going to be cold as hell down at FT Bank Stadium. But for those of you who wonder why I'm going, a friend of two good friends are able to hook me up with some tickets. So I am very appreciative of that. Big thank you to Kay and Bobby on that one.
Yeah, and any NFL game, dude. Like if there's tickets there, it's awesome.
Yeah,
can't go wrong.
So Eagles a chance to clinch the NFC East this weekend. Brian Robinson, the running back for Washington, saying, I feel that our team is better, which, to be fair, that's exactly what I would think a commander should say about his team. Like, if he came out and said, we stinked compared to them, I'd be like, that's a pretty loser mentality right there.
Yeah. I don't agree with him, but yeah.
I certainly
get
don't
it.
agree with them either. I'm uncomfortably comfortable with this game, and
Right.
that usually is a bad sign. So I'm
Yeah.
trying to get uncomfortable again with this game.
Yeah.
Miami Dolphins, they had a really rough one against the
Yeah.
Houston Texans.
Yeah, another one. Another narrative still proven true, you know?
And the Texans weren't playing all that well. Like, this
No.
is a weirder one.
No. Yeah.
Derek Stingley once again reintroduced himself as a top flight cornerback in the league. Obviously, their playoff hopes are just about dead.
Yeah, not mathematically, but their playoff hopes, in my opinion, their playoff hopes were just about dead when they lost to the Indianapolis Colts. They were definitely dead when they lost to the Green Bay Packers on Thanksgiving, and they're dead now. I don't know if they're going to beat a limping San Francisco 49ers team. I doubt that they will. And it's just one of those things where, once again, it was a year of narratives that a lot of people were hoping were proven wrong. Every single one of them was proven right, and therefore the Dolphins are where the Dolphins are. And like I say about the Jets, and as of right now, it seems like the Dolphins are the Dolphins.
We didn't even talk about that.
Yeah, that's a whole episode.
That could be a Stanley's Court episode, honestly.
Yeah,
crimes against. It's just
guilty.
We're not even gonna. It's just guilty.
Guilty. Woody Johnson guilty. The Jets guilty. Guilty of being the Jets.
If you haven't read the Woody Johnson article, read it. It's worth it.
Just in time for Christmas too, man. It was a good one. You love a good middle of the sport. Like the NFL season's almost over, but it's the middle of the sports season where basketball's mid, NHL's middle of the sports season. Just get cozy with a cup of coffee, 3-hour long article read, just ripping apart the New York Jets. I thought it was bad. I didn't know it's egregiously bad.
I mean, that article. Bad. I don't think I've seen a more scathing article ever released about an NFL team and the way that they function. And I loved that one spokesman. I loved him or her, whoever it was. It's like, oh, this is false. It's narratives. This is just false accusations. And I'm just like, it really is just just like, please disperse.
Yeah.
There's nothing happening here.
Like I said, as if we all can't see the shadow of the gun that's just to the back of that guy's head.
Meanwhile, Woody Johnson's like, Aaron Rodgers an 83 in Madden, trade him. I want nothing to do with him.
No, it's unacceptable. No,
So for all you kiddos out there that think NFL teams, or you think you can evaluate a player based on their Madden rating, you're for hire New York Jets, apparently.
Yeah, you can.
And so with that comes to an end of another episode of the Fly Guys podcast. Once again, happy holidays to everyone out there. We hope that you get everything you want for Christmas. We hope Santa brings you everything. We hope Santa brings us a couple more Flyers wins. And more than anything, enjoy the food, enjoy the time with your family, enjoy the time off from work. No matter how much time off you get, it's always, it's always special. Cameron, to you and to yours, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and I hope that the holidays are as kind to you as the season is treating the New Jersey Devils. So.
You as well, dude. You as well. Very excited. Very looking forward to it. I'm very excited to be home with a lot of people. It's going to be great. And hopefully the Flyers win these next few games, and it could be even better. We can go into it optimistically, seeing that playoff hopes are still hopefully alive and is not turning into the same old Flyers of the last decade. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to everybody else who out there. Enjoy your families. Enjoy your time. Be safe as well. A lot of intermittent weather over this weekend. And that's about it from us, from me.
That's about it. Be happy, be healthy, and as always, let's go Flyers.